Hey, are you an entrepreneur on your path of building your first or next six-figure business? Do you have a community of people with success and the direction that you want to go to hold you accountable and develop you to be the best entrepreneur you can be? Well, if you don't have consistent development or community, I'd like to invite you. This is one of the main reasons 90% of entrepreneurs fail at business. They don't have consistent development or community. Entrepreneur Zero to 100 is the place for those specifically on their path of creating a six-figure service-based business. And inside Entrepreneur Zero to 100, we cover things like building the perfect offer to have clients rolling through the doors, money mindset so you know how not to fumble the bag once you get it, systems and hiring virtual assistants to automate your business, sales and building your own sales teams, social media and creating content that sells, weekly group coaching calls. You even get a one-on-one call with myself once per month to ask any questions and peel back the layers in your business. And too much to cover here. If you're interested in joining, it is only $1 to join for a limited time using our $1 promo code. This will give you access to our weekly live group coaching calls where you can get your questions answered, and you also get to meet and connect with other entrepreneurs on the inside. To take advantage of this offer, send me a DM on Instagram at _Justin Carter, or you can visit our website at www.pivotbizz.com/EZ100 for more information. Link is also found in the show notes. What's going on, my beautiful people? Welcome to yet again another episode of the Pivot Mindset Podcast. My name is Justin. I'm your host, and let's get into this, man. Super excited to have you on this here episode. We are diving into part 2 of branding. First part, if you haven't checked that out, you might want to check that out first. I provided really a lot of information on why it was so important for you to be building a personal brand. If you're looking to make life's pivots, a part of the pivot that you're going to be making is building and rebranding yourself. Like, rebranding yourself is one of the most important parts of pivoting anything in your life. If you're trying to be a if you're trying to be a mechanic, let's go there, right? If you're trying to be a mechanic now and you used to be a life insurance broker, people aren't going to come to you because they still think you're a life insurance broker. So how do you become a really good mechanic? Well, you've got to rebrand yourself. You've got to change your personal brand and how people think about you. Remember, to recap, we talked about in our last episode that a personal brand, is really the way individuals perceive you when they experience you. What do they think about you when they experience you? Right? How does your friends describe you? Right? This is your personal brand, okay? And so everything that you want to do in life is going to hinge based on your ability to build a personal brand. If you could build a really strong personal brand, everything that you do, everything that you touch gets the chance to be launched, scaled, or grow faster or better or with less effort, because you've got a brand behind it that goes ahead of you to allow you to scale and do things a lot better, okay? So I'm hoping that you were sold. On our last part, I was really just trying to sell you on why it was so important to be building a personal brand, right? I've got to have you knowing how important it is. If you're really trying to pivot your life, you can't pivot your life without having a brand that's attached to it. If you're known for being one way, right? If you're known for being a liar, if you're known for being a cheater, if you're known for being a manipulator, and you're trying now to build new relationships, but your reputation says that you've been something else otherwise, right? You've got to rebrand yourself. You've got to become the version of you that you want, right? And that doesn't just happen by words. That happens by how you show up and what that looks like. So in this episode, I'm going to be giving you some practical steps on how to build your personal brand, how to rebuild it if it's not what you want, right? The best way to identify if your personal brand is not what you want is your brand currently serving you? Is your personal brand serving you? How do you know if your personal brand is serving you? Is the things that you're doing having success, or are they not? Are you successful at your business? Are you successful at relationships? Are you successful at finances? Are you successful at launching your idea? Are you successful at the book that you wrote? How can you be successful in all these things? Building a personal brand. Yep, it all leads back to the personal brand, okay? So there's nothing worse than having a personal brand that does not match your purpose. I'm gonna just tell you now, there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than trying to be known as someone professional, but everybody know you as the sleazy guy that manipulates and is stealing and is robbed all his life, right? There's nothing worse than trying to do that, because I believe that though is where some people are. Some people, if you're listening to this, you might be at a point where you know that the life that you currently have is not the one that you want, but you're struggling on how to rebrand yourself, how to become this new version of you. And often the new version of you starts with you, and it starts with how you introduce yourself to the world, right? And so I want you to think of your personal brand as the launching pad for everything that you want to do. And depending on how strong your personal brand is, you can be like, if your personal brand is really strong, guys, like this is what I want you to understand. If your personal brand is strong, you don't even have to be that good at what you do. You can be mediocre with a strong personal brand. How do I know this? Because Chick-fil-A, their food is good. Don't crucify me, okay? The food is good. The chicken nuggets are great, right? The chicken sandwich is great. Their food is really good. But their food is not the best food that I've ever had. I've had better chicken nuggets. I've had a better chicken sandwich. I've had a better bowl of fruit, right? I've had better soup. All the things that you can get at Chick-fil-A, I've probably had it somewhere else better tasting. But because of their brand is so strong, and because they're consistent, because they are on time, because they have the right energy, because you get the my pleasure, because they just feel like they're going to change your oil if they see your oil light on in your car while you're in the drive-thru. Like, they just seem like great people, right? Like, they killing it because they have a strong personal brand. So they don't even have to be that great at making chicken sandwiches. Their chicken sandwiches got to be good, but they don't have to be that great, because I don't necessarily go just for the taste of the chicken sandwiches, okay? Use that analogy to paint that everything that you do can be more successful if you just got a strong personal brand, if you build the brand properly, okay? So here are the practical steps. We're getting ready to dive into it right now, that you can do to rebrand yourself. Here are those practical steps. Let me give you the first one. The first step, and there's 5 total. The first step is going to be research. The first thing that you can do and you should be doing to brand yourself is that you have to do an audit, okay, guys? Like, audit and ask people who you are to them. How would they describe you? If you were going to be successful, what areas in your life do they think you would be successful at, right? What space do you take up in your friends and family's mind? You've got to get in this phase of researching where you currently are. It's going to be hard to know what it's going to take to get to your destination if you don't know where you are. And so I want you thinking that you're on a map, right? And looking at that you are here, right? That red you are here. First, let's find out where you are. Questions to ask yourself, right? Here's some homework that I'm going to give you. Is that what is the story that you have that nobody else does, right? Not only do I want you getting some external research and data and information from other people, but I want you asking yourself questions like, what is the story that you have that nobody else does? What separates you from your friends, from your community, from your environment? If you are at your friend's birthday party, what are you the only person that, like, what's your uniqueness in that group? What's the thing that you have that nobody else in that group has? What's the thing that you do that nobody else in that group does? What's your perspective that nobody else in that group has, right? I want you to celebrate your differences, because your differences are actually going to be your personal brand. Your personal brand is not your likeness. It's not your sameness. It's not your commonality. Your personal brand is your difference, because you've got to find a way to stop blending in and start standing out if you want to separate yourself from the crowd and be a personal brand, right? So that's number one, is you got to get into this research phase of understanding who you are, where you are, and what you do that nobody else does, right? Your uniqueness, okay? So that's number one. Number two is, now, once we've done this research, we start to build a brand strategy, okay? The brand strategy, and I'm going to provide that to you really by asking you some questions, right? And I want you to write these down if you can, or rewind this and go back and listen to this podcast. But to build your brand strategy, It's pretty much pouring in the ingredients of, okay, once I know all this stuff, what actually is important to implementing this? Okay, so let's start with the strategy. So here's some questions I'm going to ask you. What do you want to be known for? Right? So that's a question. And this is all helping you build out your brand strategy. What are you really passionate about? Like, what are the things that you're really fired up about? If you don't know these things, you got to get to the answers, to the bottom, to the root of these things before we can ever talk about building a personal brand, okay? Number 3 question is, where do you create the most value? This could be a great question to ask your friends. Or if you just inventory your current life, where do you feel like, man, I really create the most value? I really help people the best when I'm doing this, okay? How can you give the most you can without expecting anything in return, right? Because a personal brand is not to serve you, but it's to serve, to have a segmentation of people that you get to serve freely. There is going to be a point where you monetize, but at this phase, I want you thinking, how can I give the most value without expecting anything in return? Whatever it is that's coming to mind to you, how can you create the most value in that area, right? Without anything in return. And then here's the other question is, what channels should you be providing this value in? Are you the person that will be, going to marketing events and mixers and, job fairs and all that kind of stuff to be marketing that way? Or are you the kind of person that will be doing it on social media? Will you be doing it on Instagram? What about Facebook? What about YouTube? Are you on LinkedIn? Are you on TikTok, right? Like, are you on Twitter, right? All these channels, what channels should you be providing this value in? And in this phase, I don't want you worrying necessarily about the money. I want you worrying about, right, really putting in your reps to implement the strategy, right? The strategy is, again, really helping you dissect and get clear on, first, you talked about your uniqueness in the research process in phase 1. 2, it's now, how do we implement this uniqueness and where do we implement it? Okay, so that's number 2, is building the brand strategy. Number 3, this is probably my favorite phase of building or rebranding yourself, is the outward, okay? The Bible says in 1 Samuel 16:7, I'm paraphrasing, it's longer than this, but it pretty much says that man looks at the outward appearance, God looks at the heart. Now, when we hear that verse, we often think about God looking at the heart, and we think about that verse from that perspective, right? God looks at the heart. But we don't really underline the fact that man looks at the outward appearance. And so you're not trying to win over God when it comes to building your personal brand. You've already won him over, okay? If you're building your personal brand, you're trying to win man over. And man is looking at the outward appearance. And whatever you're doing, you have to know that the outward appearance that you have is critically important to building and having a strong personal brand, okay? And so stop expecting people to judge you by your heart and not your outward appearance. We're people, we're fickle, and we're shallow. And people are going to judge you by your outward appearance. And so I want you to know that outward appearance in the packaging that you are in is equally important to what's on the inside of the package. It's probably more important because there could be a phenomenal gift, right? There could be a cool piece of tech, but if it's not in good packaging, I probably won't buy it off the shelf, right? I probably won't pull it off the shelf to look at it. But if it's in some really good packaging, I might not even be interested in it at first, but I maybe just look at it because it looks so good on the shelf. And then I may really learn, like, oh, wow, it's got some features that could really help me. That's the same way that people are. You have to be focused on your packaging and know that your packaging is important, okay? So here's some aspects on the outward appearance that I want you to start to do. One is go and get a lifestyle photo shoot taken, okay? And what I mean by lifestyle photo shoot is this is a photo shoot with just you by yourself, and you're going to go and get maybe 2 to 3 different outfits, and you're going to do 3 different outfit changes, and you're going to you're the only person that's going to be getting photos taken. This is not you and your kids and you and your husband and your family, and no, this is a photo shoot with just you and a photographer, and you are doing some wardrobe changes, and you are going to be rebranding yourself in this photo shoot, okay? This photo shoot and what you wear in it and how you look in it is going to be a part of your rebranding and your relaunching to this world, okay? So go and get a lifestyle photo shoot taken. Do not spare any expense. Get a good photographer, get some nice clothes, something that if you're trying to be a mechanic, don't wear a suit, okay? If you're trying to be a financial advisor, you probably want to have a suit on in these photos, okay? Whatever it is, if you're trying to put yourself out there, if you're single, right? Put on some clothes, not that would be too enticing, but put on things that are flattering and that show your physique, or that shows the aspects of you that you really enjoy. Right? If you got beautiful eyes, make sure you got some close shots that pull out the beauty of your eyes, right? Whatever that is, okay? So go and get a lifestyle photo shoot taken. Here's another one, and it's kind of connected with it, is you got to begin to make investments in yourself, okay? These investments are clothing. These investments can be losing weight. These investments can be getting a new hairstyle or being more intentional about your hairstyle, etc. Okay? Any investments in yourself, you are your best investment. You're investing in you is better than investing in the stock market. It's better than investing in real estate. It's better than investing in your IRA or your 401k or your whatever. You are your best investment. Okay, and I want you to think of yourself as such. And you are now a rehab project, okay? You are a distressed property before, but now we're about to put a new kitchen in. We're about to put a new bathroom in. We're about to lay some new floors. We're about to put some new paint on the wall. We're getting ready to do that to you as a person, okay? So what investment should you be making? Do you need to get a fitness coach to help you drop the 10 pounds you've been trying to lose for the last 10 years, okay? Whatever it is, right? Make some investments in yourself, okay? Focus on the outward, right? That is in the phase 3, is you got to know that the outward appearance is super important, okay? All right, let's go to the 4th step. The 4th step in rebranding yourself is your development. It's the development aspect of things, okay? And so you've got to take your craft really serious now, right? You have done the research. You have built a brand strategy. You focused and got really clear on your outward appearance. And now it's time to take your craft extremely serious. So you already have some love or some passion for the thing, whatever it is you're rebranding yourself for, right? But now it's time to take it even more serious, right? Now you may need to invest not just in yourself physically, but now there may need to be some investments in yourself professionally, right? So you may need a coach, right? You may need someone to help you develop some aspect. Maybe you want to be a personal speaker or a public speaker, and you may need to get a speaker coach and somebody to help you, pull together your thoughts and talk clearly and take the ums out of your language and take the likes. I know I say like quite a bit, right? You may have to invest in someone or something to help you take that thing more professional or more serious, or to develop yourself to become even better than what you currently are, right? If you're a singer, go get a vocal coach, do some vocal lessons just to become even a better singer, right? How do we become the best possible at what we can do? Okay, development. And then here's the 5th one, and this is the fun one, but this is the one that can be tricky because I think a lot of people can get so caught up in the other steps because those other steps can be kind of tough, but they also can be, you could spend so much time in those steps and never take the 5th one. And if you spend so much time 1 through 4 and never take 5, you are doing yourself a disservice, and we're doing this all for nothing, okay? So this is probably the most important step, and that is taking action, okay? You have to be the person that now, once you rebrand yourself, you have to take action. Start creating content and providing value. This is for business owners, right? If you start creating content and providing value. If you're not a business owner, you got to take action on putting yourself out there. Maybe you create a personal website that has your resume on it, the things that you do, links to your work, whatever it is, right? And it could just be joeschmo.com, your first and last name.com, your first and last name.co, whatever it is. You may want to start looking at creating some space that highlights who you are. You are a brand now, and you have to treat yourself as such, right? Start creating content on social media. Start posting pictures. This lifestyle photo shoot that you've done in step 3, start posting those pictures. Change your bio, change your profile photo, all those things, right? You are now a new person. You've developed, you've rebranded yourself, you repackaged yourself, okay? So start creating content and providing value. And here's the thing, especially for business owners, at some point, we'll want to start building an offer, right? We'll want to start finding something that you can do to either sell or make more money, or put yourself in a position to get a better job or whatever that is, that's going to be later. What this is really is first building the brand. Now, I will tell you this, that building a personal brand is a long-term play. It's a play that, hey, you know what? I'm going to do this over the next 3 to 5 years. And I'm not saying it's going to take you 3 years to do this. But I'm saying is that you may not see the fruit of having a strong personal brand until 2 years after you are intentional about building it. It might not be until 5. I'm not sure what the time horizon will be for you, but what I do know is that you will see benefits of having a strong personal brand. Now, if you have a really good offer and if you have something to be able to provide value to people with, right? If you are just working a job, you may not care about building a personal brand. But if you're running a business or starting a business or wanting to get into entrepreneurship or looking for a spot, like if you're looking for something new, personal brand and being intentional about it is going to help you do it better, okay? So that's really what I got for you. I'll repeat those steps to the practical things that you could be doing to rebranding yourself. So 1 is the research. You got to do the research to find out kind of where you are. 2 is now you start to build your brand strategy. Number 3 is you focus on the outward. God looks at the heart. Man looks at the outward appearance. You got to focus on the outward appearance. Number 4 is you got to now develop yourself. You got to start taking your craft seriously. You got to invest in yourself. Get yourself a coach. Get yourself a mentor. Read yourself some books. Go to some conferences. Whatever you need to do to develop yourself even more to get better at your craft or whatever it is you want to do that, okay? And then number 5, and what I would consider the most important tip here, is to take action. All of the previous 4 steps are in vain if you never take action on the things that you're doing. When I say take action, I mean that you do things to increase your life, increase your quality of life, increase the value that you can provide to people, increase your wealth. Like, do things to put yourself out there. Go ahead and get uncomfortable. It is now time to make the pivot. This is what we're doing it for. We're rebranding to truly walk in the new pivot that we want to take in our life, all right? And so that's all I got for you in this episode. Remember that life is all about the pivots, and those who decide to make the pivots decide to be successful, all right? I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.